Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. Today is Friday the 18th for the weekly wrap-up. Let's turn over to the Grain Hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading down 2 1/4 cents, soybeans down 16 cents, and wheat in Chicago here bucking the trend, trading up 6 cents to 487.5 on the December contract. Now, out yesterday, we did have the Fed chairman announcing that interest rates will be left unchanged between 0 and 0.25%. Basically, one of the main reasons why they did that is just the outlook and the question marks there of the global economy. With that being a main concern here, I think that's one of the reasons why we saw crude oil selling off, just because the outlook for the global economy looks to be slightly less. When you have that sort of a situation, those global question marks, I think that's one of the reasons why we saw that selling spill over into soybeans, particularly because soybeans, you do have China, a major consumer of our production. And that, with that being a little bit of a question mark, I think we saw a little bit of selling here this Friday. Now keep in mind, Egypt issued a tender for 55 to 60,000 metric tons of wheat yesterday. We did see the lowest offer was Ukraine at $174.95 per metric ton. So that's kind of interesting, but we haven't seen the results of the tender yet. So it looks as though they're still in negotiation. We'll have to see how that pans out on Monday. Now this morning we also saw exporters sell 25,000 metric tons of soy oil to Egypt for 15-16 deliveries, so that's positive. But another thing that weighs on the grains here is the forecast for South American production, particularly Brazil. Brazil's 15-16 soybean crop is now seen at 100.5 million metric tons. That's versus 99.8 million metric tons back in July. So it looks as though that soybean crop and the corn crop continue to get larger down there. That puts pressure on U.S. corn and soybean contracts. When you look at the corn estimates here, Brazil 15-16 corn crop seen at 88.6 million metric tons compared to 86.2 million metric tons back in July. So like I said, a continued increase there in corn and soybean crop out of Brazil. That's going to put pressure on U.S. corn soybean contracts. Let's take a look at the damage done here today for the soybean daily chart. Each one of these bars represents 1 day worth of price activity. You'll notice really basically this week we had a very difficult time trying to get up over 890. 890 was that gap that we saw back in late August. That was a significant resistance level. You'll notice that marked really by that red line right around that 890 price level. But look at the lows there. I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming weeks we see soybeans going down around those lows. I think if we test it again, it's likely we're going to go through it. So just be cautious there. That today's price action was very weak, and I don't see a lot of bullish news out there to turn this price around. So like I said, I would not be surprised if we get a test of these lows, and if we test these lows, I would not be surprised if we go through them. So just be cautious out there if you're marketing soybeans still. December corn daily chart here, you'll notice we were up around that 100-day moving average. We closed above it 1 day, or actually 2 days, but we had some weakness in prices up there, and that seemed to have followed through into Friday. That resistance level right around 387, I would consider that 100-day moving average definitely an indicator to have on your charts. If we go up and retest that area, I wouldn't be surprised if we can kind of hang in there and possibly even move higher. But right now, again, not a lot of positive news out there. When you look at the weather, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly bullish to move this market higher. I'm not necessarily sure I'm convinced that corn is going to break through lows and start a new leg lower, but I do think we're probably going to chop around at the lows of the trade. I think it's going to be very difficult for corn to get any sort of legs under it without any sort of weather event or significant yield variations when we get out there into the harvester. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Take a look at the weather forecast here. 6 to 10 day forecast showing drier than normal conditions here throughout the majority of the Midwest. Looks as though there will be some precipitation up there in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota over the next 6 to 10 days, so above average moisture there. But for the most part, the eastern part of the grain belt, the southern plains there, that all looks to be very dry in the 6 to 10 day forecast. Again, in the 8 to 14 day forecast, continued dryness in the eastern part of the grain belt, continued precipitation above normal in Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So that pretty much wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, please give the office a call. The number is 877-472-4607. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.